era of animals, including reptiles, mammals, amphibians, birds, and mollusks. Join me this Thursday at 7 p.m. right here on Capital Television as I bring you more from this rare paradise.
Constitutional case opposing district commissioners overseeing elections will be heard in court. President Kenyatta orders nurses on strike to return to work or they will be fired. African Lion head coach warns Simba that the match on the 19th will not be easy. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's get started with the national news. The High Court of Tanzania has dismissed the appeal of the government Attorney General in a constitutional case which opposes the authority of the district commissioners to oversee elections. Judge Atugandilwe Gwala, who had been presiding over the case, gave the verdict today. The verdict was reached after the state's appeal rested on the argument that the appeal had initially been opened against the law due to the fact that there were errors committed when people were taking their oaths. In addition, the state made the argument that the appeal was groundless and thus it was requesting that the court does not consider it as an important issue. As a result of the High Court's decision, the case is now awaiting the selection of a panel of 3 judges who had been launched by the lawyer political elections. The MP for Iramba West, Mwigulu Nchemba, has been admitted at Benjamin Mkapa Hospital in Dodoma after he suffered an accident on the main Iringa-Dodoma road in Migoli area, Iringa region. The cause of the accident has been said to be the fact that there were 3 donkeys who happened to be crossing the road at that particular moment, and the accident occurred at around 8 a.m. in the morning while Mwigulu Nchemba was on his way to Dodoma region. He was quickly rushed to the hospital in Dodoma city after the accident.
He was given first aid and we did a CT scan and an X-ray. The tests have come out good. He has not suffered any internal injuries. Investigation is going on, although the accident took place outside Dodoma. It is too early to tell you exactly what happened. He has been attended to by doctors and he is doing well. As I was back from Iringa, I was using the phone and all of a sudden some zebras crossed the road and we crashed.
The police force in Mwanza region has caught 13 illegal immigrants who are Ethiopian nationals hiding in the farm of a residence of Nyaburogya Street in Nyegezi ward in Mwanza region. 5 out of them were found with traveling documents from Ethiopia that had been stamped by Kenyan immigration but were not stamped by immigration in Tanzania.
It seems like they are coming from Ethiopia, passing through neighboring countries. Priorities of Mwanza region is security. We have arrested 13 people and took them to immigration department so that legal measures can be taken against them. I heard the whistle blowing early in the morning. When I went to find out on what is going on, I heard thieves were caught. Furthermore, we came to realize they were not thieves, but refugees, because they could not speak Kiswahili. As citizens, we decided to involve the police. At bus stations, there is high population. You can even find illegal migrants here. I'm urging my fellow residents in Mwanza to immediately report to police stations when we come across people who are not Tanzanians.
The engineer of NSCC company has come very close to being arrested and tossed into remand custody for his failure to successfully implement a project on schedule. This comes after the engineer failed to complete on time a project to improve power supply, TADEP, which brings electricity poles from Kurasini area up to Kigamboni.
If you don't bring laborers by
having a shortage of not only desks but also only having 4 classrooms out of the required 29.
we only have 4 classrooms when in actual sense 29 classrooms are needed to meet the number of students. We've had this problem for a long time. We don't have enough desks and classrooms. There is neither teacher's office nor washroom.
More than 150 employees of Mvunibudi factory that produces banana wine in Sinoni, Arusha region have been forced to set up camp at the factory for over 8 hours, opposing being fired without following procedures nor being given their rights.
When we express our concerns, we don't get heard, while we are the ones generating revenue. We are badly treated. If we've been fired, I ask that we are given contract termination letters. We are asking to be paid our benefits too. When we nominated workers' representatives so staff could be given contracts, some were fired.
Morogoro Regional Police Force has impounded containers of cosmetics which have been found to contain poisonous substances inside 141 boxes that are collectively worth 38 million shillings. The containers with these toxins had been packed inside a Scania truck with registration number T233 BLP T761, and this truck had been coming from Tunduma and was heading towards Dar es Salaam.
We discovered that the TRA seal had been broken, and when the driver and his assistant arrived in Beira, they loaded another consignment containing cosmetics. So both of them have now been arrested and are being questioned. 5 illegal migrants were also arrested at 7 a.m. this morning. The cosmetics weigh a total of 965 kilograms worth 38 million and could harm users, as some of them contain chemicals that are corrosive and can enter into the bloodstream and cause harm to the liver. We were tipped by someone that our vehicle had had its seal broken by the driver and that he had loaded goods that we had not authorized. When something like this happens, cooperation is needed by all concerned parties.
The government will send a bill to Parliament in April of this year, which will demand that every Tanzanian becomes a member of the NHIF National Health Insurance Fund. Those remarks were made by the Minister for Health, Community Development, Gender, the Elderly and Children, Umi Mwalimu.
Many people can afford to pay because the CHF covers the total package for CHF is about 5,000 T shillings to 30,000 T shillings in various district councils. 5,000 T shillings is about $2. It's about $2. Many Tanzanians can afford to pay for community health insurance fund because they can afford to pay for 500 T shilling every day for airtime voucher. Why can't they afford to pay for health insurance?
These are the challenges which we are going to take in that universal health coverage. Ensure the MPs are saying they are here. They will know what are the challenges, maybe to tackle them before they become that. I'm glad the RAS, Regional Administrative Directors who are here, and that's also another initiative which the government you have taken. It's very good. Because each region will try to concentrate on their own challenges in the different areas. And I'm sure the RAS will do that job very faithfully and happily, because when you have sick people in your areas of administration, it's frustrating.
I can only applaud the Tanzanian government for its work on designing a new social health protection system aiming at universal health coverage. The development of the health financing strategies that is a pathway towards single national health insurance will be a solution to the informal sector that cover more than 70% of the population. I know that the whole process has taken long and that the strategy is still to be approved by the Cabinet. Once done, the implementation of the single national health insurance will be a major reform that shall leave no one behind.
And that's all for national news. International news is next. With the nurses' strike entering its 10th day in Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta has now ordered nurses on strike to go back to work by this Friday, or else they will be fired.
It is therefore clearly disheartening to learn that some of our nurses have decided to engage in unlawful withdrawal. It is disheartening to hear officials of the nursing union declare that they will not obey court orders. All nurses should resume duty with effect, and in any case, the National Police Service to take stern action against those picketeers who may intimidate or otherwise harass the public servants who intend to go to work.
The conciliation process started way before any order and defined in the Interpretation of General Provisions Act.
Also in Kenya, a small Cessna plane has crashed in Kamwingi area in Londiani in western Kenya, killing all the 5 people on board, including 3 Americans, the pilot, who is a Kenyan national, and an individual of unknown nationality.
Nikafanya mambo ya emergency kwa county, nika alert the government response unit, wakakuja gari ya moto, gari ya kuokoa kama ambulance. Ni watalii na huwa wanatuletea rasilimali katika nchi yetu.
Incidents of violent murders continue to be reported in Rwanda, with tribal discrimination playing a large role. This has been determined after a man cut the fingers off of another man because of his tribe.
This is an extreme brutality. How can one be murdered and thrown in a bathroom? Such acts are intolerable. Landlord and tenant have been taken to police for investigations.
Two citizens of Uganda in the ADF rebel group who were caught in 2018 in the forests of Beni have been released by the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo and returned home.
We came from Uganda. When we reached Kasindi, they sent a man who took us to Congo. From Congo, there are a couple of stations that we had to pass by before reaching Medina. We ran away because there was no food. Some people were called for jobs from far away without any particulars of where you are going nor what kind of job you are going to do.
The Munich security report was just earlier this week ahead of the Munich Security Conference. This is an annual gathering of leading representatives of all major powers, including Germany's Chancellor Angela Merkel, US Vice President Mike Pence, and Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, that will be held later this week to discuss global instability. With me is our correspondent from Deutsche Welle, Thomas Sparrow. Thomas, what were the key issues that were raised in this report?
This report, as you mentioned, comes ahead of the Munich Security Conference at the end of the week in Munich. This is one of the most important security conferences in the world, if not the most important. That's at least how it's been described. And this is now the 55th time that this conference takes place in Munich. And as you said, there are dozens of important politicians, heads of state and government coming, as well as defense and foreign ministers or members of international organizations. And some of the key issues that they will be discussing were precisely those that were announced in that report. For example, the fact that there are major crises in various parts of the world, including, for example, in Africa. The report details crisis in the Sahel region. At the same time, it mentions that something more fundamental is changing in the international order, that there seems to be a vacuum in leadership, that, for example, the leadership of the United States under Donald Trump seems to be affecting that international order and making it more unstable. Those are elements that are described in this report, as well as the fact that there seems to be a growing sense of competition between the major powers, the United States, China, and Russia. So these are obviously all issues that are going to be discussed in Munich. In fact, there is a very big presence from the United States and from China and from Russia and other countries as well. So we can certainly expect a lot of discussions, a lot of newsworthy items as well at the end of the week. And we're obviously very happy to say that we will be discussing with you some of the results and the outcomes on Friday, not from here, from Berlin, but from Munich, where we will be covering all the details of the Munich Security Conference.
Most definitely, Thomas. As you mentioned, Africa was significantly featured in this report, especially the Sahel. We already know that this is an area where a lot of terrorist organizations such as Boko Haram, Al-Qaeda, the Islamic Maghreb, there are a lot of these groups that are operating in the Sahel, and they've contributed significantly to a lot of the violence and extremism as well as instability. Were these issues also raised within the report?
Yes, those issues are very important actually for the Munich Security Conference, and not only because of the effects that it has or might have in Africa and in the Sahel region in particular, but also because of potential spillover effects as they've often been described in other parts of the world. For example, in Europe, we've described here on various occasions how insecurity and instability in parts of Africa could lead, for example, to many people in the region to try and leave their countries of origin and emigrate, for example, to European countries. So it's not only about specific crises in specific regions, but it's also about how those specific crises in specific regions can also have effects in other parts of the world. And as I mentioned earlier, it's not only about the Sahel, it's also, for example, about crises in the Middle East. That's also a key issue that will be addressed in Munich by the different panels and the different speeches that we're going to to see in Munich. And again, it's also about the overarching problem that was addressed in this report, and how precisely leaders think they can fill that vacuum in leadership in the international order, or how, for example, they believe that some of these issues that we are discussing here can be addressed and can be solved. And again, one of the key elements that will be discussed is the situation in the Sahel region, all those elements that you mentioned, and what the international community can do to try and tackle them.
Lastly, Thomas, were there any unexpected issues that rose up in this report?
I wouldn't describe them as unexpected, but I would say that in a way, the fact that they were addressed and the way in which they were addressed does raise some alarms internationally, does mention once again that we are in a time of instability, that we are in a time of uncertainty, that we are in a time where there are major crises unfolding in different parts of the world, where the international order, as it has been described for many, many years, is changing and is evolving, and in some cases it's even becoming more unstable and more difficult. And those are all elements that were very much present in that report, that will be very much present as well during the conference, and that I believe are particularly important to understand where we are now, not only here in Europe, but where we are now internationally as well, and what can be done in order to tackle some of these issues internationally.
Thank you very much, Thomas. We will be finding out more on Friday, that's just a few days from now, and we'll see how the conference itself goes. And that is all for international news. Do stay with us. We'll be back with business news after this break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
To be rich, I have to be a business person.
It's not an easy road at all.
People need to understand. You must quickly think, how cost effective are you going to be?
Business acts as a way in which it can bridge that gap.
Business Edition will keep you informed on latest developments in the financial sector, extractive industry, tourism, agriculture, energy, construction, and so much more. Meet entrepreneurs for creating employment opportunities. Watch Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and in business news. Small-scale miners in Morogoro region have asked the government to review sections of the minerals law, as some of them have been causing distortion and making them unable to engage in mining activities as required.
According to minerals laws and regulations, when one acquires mining license, is not allowed to begin operations until they get landowners' permits from where he got the license. These directives are issued to every person given license. I believe if every mineral stakeholder will follow these procedures, then there shall not be any misunderstandings. Why do small-scale miners cheat on themselves? Don't mine and transport minerals illegally and evade taxes at the same time, because through the black markets they sell minerals at low prices compared to the prices at established markets.
Tanzania Telecommunications Company Limited (TTCL) has signed an agreement with 3 South Korean companies with the aim of ensuring that the companies be used in building a card payment system known as T-Card, which is being done by a subsidiary of a finance network company, T-Pesa.
Sasa hivi sisi tunaingia kwenye ubunifu zaidi.
We are now focusing on creativity. The system that used to T-Card and POS is one of a kind in Tanzania. However, this system assures our market shares just as how the chairman of sponsors board members, said this move will accelerate growth. We have decided to collaborate with TTCL in this program. We have observed that TTCL company is growing fast technologically.
The Deputy Minister of Finance and Planning, Dr. Shatu Kijaji, has directed small-scale entrepreneurs whose sales do not exceed 4 million shillings per year to take advantage of opportunities of IDs provided by President Dr. John Pombe Magufuli so they can run their activities with no disturbances.
The President has decided to reduce the burden of taxes by introducing identity cards that will allow you to conduct businesses anywhere because we wish well to traders in this country. When he was doing presidential campaigns, he pledged not to let down Tanzanians. He has justified his statements. Through these cards, our president will be able to identify us by our numbers.
That's it for business news. Sports is next.
Hi, my name is Kotaro Tokuda.
What's up? My name is Sean Garnier.
I'm John Barnes from Liverpool Football Club. The hip, hop, a hip, the hip, hip, hop. You don't stop the rockin' to the bang bang boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear?
I'm watching Sports Gazette.
I'm watching Sport Gazette.
And you're watching Sports Gazette
with Sebastian.
With Sebastian. Peace out.
Yes! And you can also watch Sports Gazette for highlights and interviews regarding sports. Do not miss Sports Gazette every Wednesday at 7 p.m. only on Capital Television.
And on to sports news. The Africa Lion head coach Suleiman Jabir has warned Simba Sports Club against thinking that their Premier League encounter on the 19th of February will be an easy one.
Msinitishe kabisa na Simba.
You should not scare me with Simba. African Lion is not scared of Simba, Yanga or Azam. To me, Simba is just like Singida United, because if Simba was different, then it would have its own league different from the Tanzania Premier League. But I respect Simba. I'm not new to Simba. I understand Simba very well.
Mchezo wa kwanza kabisa nasema tena mwaka wa kwanza kusikiliza habari ya Simba mwaka 72. Mimi na miaka 10.
The former owner of Kajumulo World Soccer Center, Alex Kajumopolo, has said he has intentions of developing youth and women's soccer in Tanzania by giving talented players chances to play in the United States.
My partnership is aimed at making sure all the kids who want to go to college through their soccer skills can be prepared well for the tasks abroad. I want to make way for our players to go out and develop.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer called Manchester United's 2-0 home loss to Paris Saint-Germain in the last 16 of the Champions League a reality check, but insisted mountains are there to be climbed.
Former United winger Angel Di Maria provided the assist for goals scored by Presnel Kimpembe and Kylian Mbappe. Interim boss Solskjaer told BT Sport, "You can lay down and say it's over." United midfielder Paul Pogba was sent off at the last minute of the normal time for a second bookable offence. This was Solskjaer's first defeat as interim boss after winning 10 of his first 11 games since taking over from Jose Mourinho in December.
Borussia Dortmund's flight to London for their Champions League encounter against Tottenham on Wednesday was delayed after England winger Jadon Sancho forgot his passport.
The 18-year-old realized his mistake when he arrived at the airport and needed to return home. Dortmund have arrived in England and will train at Wembley on Tuesday before the first leg of the last 16 tie. Sancho scored the first as Dortmund drew 3 up with Hoffenheim on Saturday.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. On behalf of everyone who worked to bring you this bulletin, my name is Vanessa Victor. Thank you for watching and have a good night.